Boston is ambitious. It's an ambitious city, and there's a kind of drive pushing people constantly. So I think part of the work of the arts is to interrupt that pace, especially for people who want to be formed into the likeness of Jesus. You got to slow down, because Boston's just like, and that's not what life with Jesus is like. It requires a different pace to learn how to pray, to learn how to meditate on the scriptures, to learn how to walk in wisdom, to learn how to love your neighbor. You've got to slow down. I'm glad you're here. Come on in. Welcome, y'all. Welcome to House Moot.
Yeah.
Woo! Church of the Cross Arts Ministry evening together. Let's start with this liturgy to begin a purposeful gathering. And so are we gathered here. Uniquely in all of history, we particular people in this singular time and place.
Accomplish your purposes among us, O God.
Among us are some who arrive anxious, some who are lonely, some who suffer pain or sorrow. O Father, enlarge our hearts. O Spirit, expand our vision. O Christ, establish your kingdom among us. Be at work even now, O Lord. May your will in us in these hours be accomplished. Amen. At this point, I've come to realize how much arts ministry is also hospitality. So I think cultivating a space that's warm and welcoming and full of delights and a bit extravagant is really important for how we welcome artists in. So we call it the Arts Collective. It's a 4 or 5 week small group where working artists are welcome. They come to my house right here. We have a meal and we have some homework each week, articles to read, books we read together, maybe a short film we might watch, poems to read, scriptures to meditate on. So we do that all on our own during the week, and we come together, share a meal, and have a facilitated discussion. And the whole collective kind of shaped by a curriculum we inherited from the Boston Fellows Arts cohort. So these 4 weeks, it's just like the big story of the Bible. It's creation, fall, redemption, new creation. So each week has a theme. We're interacting with creative work that's happening right now, that's done by Christians or non-Christians, and then we're imagining, okay, what is God doing in us? What is God calling us in our own craft to grow in? How can we pour out?
We want to care for artists and the art they do in a God-honoring, God-glorifying way. We're made in the image of our Creator, and part of our calling as His image bearers is to express that creativity. And some of us, that's more of the calling, our creative, innovative gifting is part of our work, and more so than maybe other professions or callings in life. And we do see a lot of that in Boston. We have a lot of innovative, creative folks, people in biotech and business and in all kinds of fields where it's just, wow, there's just so much creativity and innovation. We see that in our people and in the arts.
Came to Church of the Cross already practicing writing poetry a good bit, but stepped into a church where there was already something of an arts community happening at Church of the Cross that I just got to kind of step into and enjoy. And even the very first Sunday we visited Church of the Cross, we were working at L'Abri, and we came into the city to visit this cool Anglican church in downtown Boston. And the service, I was very familiar with Anglican liturgy at this point. It was just artfully done. It was beautifully crafted. There were creative moments throughout that I just thought, I could really be at home here. That has played out because I got to be more involved with the artistic endeavors at Church of the Cross. And then as I began to sense a call to be ordained, I went to the Bishop Steve at the time, and said, I feel called to write. I feel called to work with artists and to be somehow like pastorally present to artists. Is this a thing? Could this be like a deacon? Could this be deacon craft? And he said, yes, absolutely. So I feel called to write, and I want to make spaces where artists are welcome and experience formation and growth and the joy of being an artist who's following Jesus. I think there's a slow growth at work. It feels like a community is gathering, a community of folks who are honoring each other's creative work, challenging each other to grow, and learning how this is worship, how this is our vocation as humans, to be creative and to pour out for Jesus.
We really fell in love with the spirit of worship at Church of the Cross, and that's what drew us in, and it's broader than the music. We come from different church backgrounds. I grew up in a church where the music was quite plain, and music can be such a double-edged sword in a way, because when it's really excellent, it can become an idol. And so as much as my family kind of jokes about those experiences back then, like, remember that Sunday, it was pretty rough, we had to start that song over. It taught me to have a simplicity in my spirit of worship. Like, no matter what's going on, I'm worshiping you, God. But then at the same time, we're called to make a joyful noise, and skilled players are invited to help lead in worship, and beauty glorifies the Lord. I mean, anything that's played well is just a testament to the beauty and complexity of our God. We seek to hold both the simplicity of the spirit of worship and also goodness and beauty and truth. I think it's part of our hospitality and how we welcome people in. Our church is really open to worshiping in a variety of genres, and I think that is a really helpful way to welcome people in from different backgrounds.
One of the beautiful things about Church of the Cross and what I'm seeing in other places around New England is that the people that are here really care about their faith, and they want to know what difference their faith makes in their daily lives and in their interactions with their neighbors. And so the opportunity to be salt and light, when you have light in the midst of a lot of darkness, people pay attention to that and it starts to grow. The health of Church of the Cross is something that is deeply encouraging to me, to my family, to friends outside of Church of the Cross. We had my son Harry get baptized this past January, and family came up from Maryland and from North Carolina, and they were just blown away by Church of the Cross and really felt the Spirit move. To the point that it becomes a joke amongst Church of the Cross staff that this is the church you bring your parents to and they cry during the service. But that's just been so many people's experience. We're creating space for people to receive Jesus and to hear from word and table what they desperately need.
I mean, I am so convinced that, making and creating and the arts are going to be part of a great renewal in this generation and the next, because people are hungry for order and beauty and meaning and coming up a little empty with regard to what else they're being given right now. So I think there's a swell happening.
But yeah, when I talk to my charismatic friends, they're like, that a new awakening is coming. So let's be ready. So are you going to be ready when people start coming into the church? And we want to be ready if that's the case. We're praying for that. And we're not just sitting passively. We want to be out in word and deed on mission with Jesus. But we also want to be ready to receive people when and if God brings people to Christ and they need to be discipled and formed in an Anglican way. We want to be ready, and that's what we're doing.